Right. I've ordered the pizzas to be about an hour.
Damn it, I've bloody timed out again.
He's late as usual. And all this detritus must signify something.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be Hamlet, set in Market Raisin Waste Recycling Centre.
Hey, have you seen Donald Trump's latest tweet? I've come up with a zinger reply, get this. Will you shut up, you warmongering, orange-faced dickhead? You have the supreme self-belief that can only be possessed by someone who is a total moron. Kapow!
He'll be gone by tomorrow then.
I'm aware that the idiot-in-chief won't read it himself. It's for the benefit of my followers.
It's those 130 innocent souls I'm a little worried about. Suffering your wit and wisdom daily, Ian.
134, actually.
Ah! Only had the security code to put in, I'm out again.
Oh, hi guys. Looks like I'm a little bit late. I've just been on a mission to find a third hoe and no Father Christmas Jones, please. Chris, thank you very much. But now, anyway, I think we're ready to roll.
We just assumed we were auditioning for Waiting for Godot.
No, but if you care to gather round, I shall reveal all.
Well, as long as it's not another blooming Eugene Ionesco play. I mean, if our audience don't know by now how absurd existence is, they never will.
Maybe
Enough, you know.
Maybe discover a never before performed medieval Ecuadorian morality play.
No, look, listen, our latest dramatic adventure, is set much closer to home. In fact, it's here.
Here?
Yes.
Is it a docudrama about the founding of Legsby Village Hall? That's going to pack 'em in, isn't it?
No, look, what I'm suggesting, no, genuinely suggesting, though I'm sure you will agree, what I'm suggesting is that we should make a piece of theatre about the conscientious objectors, who came to Legsby, what, over 70 years ago?
Nearly 80.
Well, yeah, if you want to be a pedant, nearly 80. Yeah, nearly 80 years ago. But this is the thing, right? You know, a drum roll, please, somebody. Oh. We are going to take it to the Edinburgh Fringe.
No.
It's not funny, is it?
The Fringe! Last time I acted there, I was at uni.
Well, that must have been a long time ago. That's true.
Fringe, surely that's about young people with hormones akimbo. Not a bunch of slightly aging baby boomers.
We're not baby boomers anymore, Chris. We're more like creme crowders these days.
No, I mean, well, that's actually a good point, Ian, because I think we owe it to the previous generation to tell their story while we still can, you know.
Before it's too late.
Yeah, exactly, before it's too late. I mean, you remember those interviews that I did?
recall.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've still got the transcripts. I've still got the actual recordings even. And look, we've got Chris here, who's a direct line to the community, you know. I mean, both his parents were conscientious objectors. And, well, it's just an amazing story, isn't it? And it's ours to tell, so why don't we bloody well just tell it, you know?
I mean, if we do it, and that's a big if,
Okay.
it's actually going to be quite emotional for me. I mean, to you it may be a great story, but
No, I appreciate that.
it's my memories. It's my parents that we're going to be digging up, if you like.
No.
And I mean, it does sound as if it's a bit worthy and moral. Dare I say it, boring?
Oh, God,
no.
You're on another planet
Might
from the
bring
rest
back
of us.
Ionesco.
Oh.
We need some sort of framing device.
Yeah.
You can't just plunge
No,
straight in.
I get that entirely. I'm sure we'll come up with some sort of framing device. I'm sure we will.
We need an angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we need. Is this a flicker of interest I see
Might
before
be,
me? Well,
might be.
it seems like. Well, let me take the opportunity of telling you how I see it starting. Right?
Oh, now
Yeah. Now this will blow your mind. Empty stage.
Good
yeah,
start.
yeah, that's all right.
Darkness.
Whoa.
Oh, there you go. And then
So far, so good.
this.
What's that supposed to be?
Well, it's not supposed to be anything actually. It's a recording of a live, buzzy bee.
And what's that got to do with anything?
Oh, I got it. He means Arthur, the beekeeper.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, that's right. Arthur Adams. You know, I mean, Chris knew Arthur extremely well, and I got to know him when I was doing those interviews. And you know, as a beekeeper for Arthur, I mean, the hive was a source of honey, but it was more than that.
Community.
Yeah, exactly.
Community.
It was like a symbol of community for him. And well, when I interviewed him, I think he was talking about Dick Cornwallis at the time. And when he spoke about community, just listen to this.
To me, Dick was the community.
Right.
He had,
the philosophy.
if you see his aims, it comes in there very well.
Right.
You've got,
How would you describe those aims?
sorry,
How would you describe the aims that he had for the community?
I would describe him as a Gandhi.
Right.
He was, community must be community. You don't do things just for yourself, you do things for society. I'm a beekeeper, you know,
Yeah, I know.
and the beehive is what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that's it exactly. I mean, for Arthur, you know, I mean, I feel he was as inspired by that idea of community, you know, as much as even by pacifism. And therefore, in this piece we're going to put together, well, I think community needs to be a really strong, central theme, yeah? And therefore I've got this sort of artistic vision for the piece that we kind of have this recurrent motif of a bee. You know, at the start, in the middle, through it. What are you laughing at?
It's beginning to sound a bit arty. Just tell the story.
Yeah, but I thought those Edinburgh types would like that sort of thing.
You can't afford to hang about. They give you a slot, what, 85 minutes max?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Bonnie.
Yeah.
Just do it straight, no trended theatre
Good.
tricks.
Look, right, suddenly we're all Michael Billingtons here, aren't we? I mean, you know, like 5 minutes ago nobody seemed that interested. But look, let me develop the idea a little bit further, okay? We are the charmed generation. Yeah, I mean, like guilty as charged, you know, we've had free health.
University, school milk.
That's right.
Cheap flights if you can bloody book them.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are downsides, but, you know, they were, in many ways, a cursed generation. You know, I still find it hard to get my head around the idea of reaching the age of 18 and having to deal with the outbreak of a fucking world war. You know, I mean, when we got to 18, they'd stopped national service, hadn't they? And when I got to 19, I had to deal with the outbreak of the summer of love. You know, I mean, my biggest dilemma, you know, was I courageous enough to drop a tab of acid? You know, I mean, no, I'm not saying whether I did or not, but you know, that was, you know, where it lay at the time.
So how are you going to get all that across in 85 minutes, as well as telling the story?
Right, I've got it. You've got the transcripts and recordings. Why not let the COs tell their own story in their own words? Simple.
Just play the recordings and then we wouldn't get to, you know, perform.
Oh, Chris.
Chris, you're just an egomaniac, you are.
Well, what I'm suggesting is, Chris, is that we read or perform, if that makes you feel better, the best bits from the transcripts, from the interviews. Then we become them.
We become them. I
Sounds
like that.
interesting.
My God, is this an outbreak of agreement that's happening? Well, I'm going to take it whilst it lasts. So let's do it. Okay. Evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are very pleased to be able to do our show for you right here and right now.
What? In Legsby Village Hall?
To nobody.
I hate to nitpick, but we haven't even devised the piece yet.
How exactly are we going to do the show right here, right now?
It's true what they say, isn't it? You know, never work with animals or old people. guys, ease yourself out your seats. That's it. Have a little look around you. Where do you think you know, look, who do you think those extremely pleasant people sitting out there are, you know, and stage lights, you know, the whole bit. We are in the Quaker Meeting House, you know. It's it's our one from last performance. I thought you got used to it by now. It's it's Friday, August the 17th, and by my watch it's 26 minutes past 6. We're in the here, And then. Good evening, my name is Arthur Adams. Yeah, you know what they used to call me at Bleasby, at the community? They used to call me Tommy At. Tommy At, that's Yorkshire speak, you see. It meant they thought I could do art around the farm, especially in the mechanical line, you see. But I came from a very different place. I was what they used to call in those days, a London street Arab. Yeah, I was one of 3 brothers brought up in a small flat in a converted semi just outside central London. Willesden Junction Station, to be precise. So I didn't hear many bees buzzing or birds twittering round there. No, just the sound of trains letting off steam. And my father was a long-distance train driver. LMS, London, Midland and Scottish Railway. Yeah, it was a comfortable working man's family. Very close. Yeah, very, very close. But typical.
Hello, I'm Dee Broadbent. I met my husband Roy in Leeds, doing his first year of architecture. He then went to London, and I followed him. I went to the Royal Academy School studying sculpture. Most of our friends were artists, musicians, actors, all that set in Bloomsbury, of course. Well, just before the war, Roy spent 6 months in Germany working in Hamburg, meeting very, very interesting top artists. And what would Roy be then?
21. So it was very formative, impressionable times. And he must have admired these people so much that, especially when the wars with Germany, imagine, everything became totally unreal.
Well, hello. I'm Joe Downing. My father was a butcher and kept a few cows as well. And, back in the 1930s, I was one of the 2 million unemployed. People complain today, but it was nothing to what we went through back then.
I can remember at home walking from, you've nothing to do, you see. You got up in the morning, what do you do? You say to the old chap, you say, "Are you want to look for work?" Which is a ridiculous thing to say when there isn't any.
And wondering what to do, I'd walk down to Grimsby, and then I'd walk back again, and I was generally had a full belly, so I was better off than most folks, but sometimes I'd walk all the way down to the Grimsby fish docks, and I'd beg a bit of fish off the barrow boys there, and take it up to Cleethorpes, walking again, and the seaside landladies, they'd buy it off you to prepare meals for the visitors, you see, for 4pence. What did that mean? 4pence to me meant 10 woodbine. Well, I was made that day. 10 woodbine, 10 whole woodbine. Sounds ridiculous now, doesn't it?
I'm Phyllis Farley, Phil to my friends. We were very tennis-minded, being from Wimbledon. We used to get to the All England tennis courts to watch the championships. And the electricity company were very good. They used to give us tickets and the afternoon off to go and watch them. And we used to get up and go swimming at the Wimbledon swimming baths before work. We used to go boating on the Thames. We used to go picnicking on the islands on the Thames. We used to walk across the common to Richmond Park and go ice skating at the Richmond skating rink. And of course, we used to do a lot of dancing. There were a lot of local hops going on all the time that we used to go to. We used to go to the Wimbledon Palais, but most of all, we used to go to the Richmond Palais. Ah, no, it was Streatham Hill. I think it was Streatham Hill, and you used to get your ticket and the price of your train fare for about 1 and 6pence. It was marvellous. It really was marvellous dancing. And we used to, we were so keen on dancing, we used to go for lessons. And we had this teacher, and this was at Tooting also.
I remember she taught us the tango, and we thought we were very with it because she was with it, and I always remember her dancing class was held in a room that was all black. The wallpaper was all black, and ceiling and the floor was all black, and just very subdued lights.
Hello, I'm Don Sutherland. Not the one some of you are thinking of. Anyway, most people tend to call me Don. My father worked for an arms manufacturer, believe it or not.
I left school. I've had no academic education at all. I just did my school leavers, and I did well in maths. I was always very good at maths. So and a relation of my mother's had been the cashier of the Bank of England. So I went to the bank, and they said, "You didn't go to the right grammar school. We don't take people unless they've been to the Royal Grammar School in Newcastle."
So the next thing was accountancy. And I went for a job at the accountant's firm, and the first question, more or less, they asked was, "Well, what does your father do?" Because in those days, you know, we were articled, which means you have to pay just to learn the job. And there's 5 of us, and father was trying to buy the house, so no way could we afford that. So my first real job was as a cashier, as a clerk at an insurance company. It was an engineering insurance company based in Newcastle that was affiliated to the Royal. It's got some fancy new name now. Anyway, as a weedy young man, perfect for office work, nobody would ever guessed that I was going to spend most of my working life fighting those bitterly east winds coming straight from the Russian steppes.
What we thought in those days, all we really wanted for the mass man was food, warmth and shelter. Nothing more. And I don't think that the Labour Party supporters ever really thought of anything much beyond that. No question of owning your own homes or having cars, no. Just things like food, warmth and shelter, because a lot of people hadn't even got that. And what bothers me now with socialism, back then all we would condone was that everybody should have a job, a roof over their head and food on the table, nothing more. Nowadays, well, they go on strike for the drop of the hat, don't they, really? Back then, though, you saw so much, what I call degradation.
Say no to conscription!
Refuse conscription!
Before it's too late!
No more war!
No more war! No more war! No more war! No more war! No more war! No more war! No more war!
Can I give you one of these? Is there anybody who wants to walk?
War. Can I give you some to pass around? We're hoping that people will sign them. Stop war before it's too late.
Well, the only time, the first time we thought about it much was when we went to a meeting in London at the Central Hall, and we heard John Middleton Murray speaking, and it just hit me what sense he was talking. Because all the other people were talking about was what to do in the case of war, and John Middleton Murray said what we should all be doing was to prevent war. And it just hit me, and I thought, well, that's much more sense. Everybody was accepting that there should be a war, and he wasn't accepting that there should be. You know, we should be doing all we could to see that there wasn't one.
Yeah, and of course in those days, well, I was born in 1920, you see, and when I was a child, You know, it was all anti-war. I mean, the streets were full of old soldiers from the first time round. You know, the war to end all wars. Yeah, yeah. Men without arms, without legs, but without faces, some of them. No, they'd come out the army, no money, no job to go to. I mean, there were next to no benefits in those days. They had to beg to stay alive, which is why we all had that same feeling.
Never again!
Not peace at any price, but love at all costs.
And by 1935, I'd be, what, 22. The Reverend Dick Shepherd and the Peace Pledge Union come on the scene.
I am a Christian, and I take my religion seriously. I believe that when God said, "Thou shalt not kill," he meant to prohibit the killing of millions in cold blood that we call war, as well as the crime of murder.
Yeah.
But that there is indeed no difference between war and murder, apart from the fact that the one is on an immeasurably larger scale than the other and claims an infinite number of victims.
True, that's absolutely true.
This is true of all wars.
All
Yes.
wars.
And the only way to stop them is to say quite clearly that under no circumstances and upon no pretext will we allow ourselves to be dragged into another war. And gentlemen, and yes, ladies too, it is within our power to put an end to all wars.
Really?
Oh, yes. Governments cannot wage wars without men to do the fighting.
No.
Yes. I therefore invite each of you to send me a postcard pledging your personal commitment never to take up arms.
We got them.
Right, first of all, we'll read these words out loud and clear, loud enough for our so-called leaders to hear. I renounce war, and I will never support or sanction another. Marvellous. Now, wave your postcards high in the air, that's right everybody. Use them as fans, that's right. See that, you politicians? Don't bother declaring war on each other, because we shall not fight.
We shall not fight. We shall not fight. We shall not fight. We shall not fight. We shall not fight. We shall not fight.
Most of them did, though.
Well, Dick Shepherd and the Peace Pledge Union did touch thousands of lives, and it certainly did mine. And I thought, well, that's what we should be doing, whether we like it or not, whether we see logic in it or not. That's what we should be doing if we want to demonstrate God's way. And I built up on that feeling. And I got the feeling too that it wasn't going to mean good luck all the time, sort of thing. We would suffer for it. And we as a nation would suffer for it. But we'd be following a path which was the right path. And I still believe that today. I suppose in a way, you've got to grind your teeth. You've got to be another Christ, if you like. Which is why, well, I could never join the army when war finally came.
On Sunday morning, September time. It was a beautiful cloudless day, brilliant blue sky. We had very good neighbours next door, Jock and Margaret.
Beautiful morning, is it not, Phil?
Hello, dearie.
He worked for the post office, I remember. Well, Vic was down the garden there picking plums off one of the plum trees. I couldn't believe it. I dashed into Margaret's and I got Vic down off the plum tree, and we were all in a bit of a panic, and we listened to...
This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
Oh, well, Vic and I suddenly realised we'd left our gas masks at Wimbledon at my mother's house. We'd been issued with them months and months before, but we'd just stuffed them away and never really thought about them.
You must have your gas mask.
There might be an air raid any moment.
You must have them.
You must have them.
So Vic wrapped a damp towel around his neck so he could put it over his mouth if gas came, and he dashed off to Wimbledon on his bike. He upset all the air raid wardens on the way.
Take cover, you young idiot.
But it was all so unreal. It was a beautiful, cloudless day, and we were all studying the skies to see where the raiders were coming from. And of course, my mother, when Vic got there, was in a flat spin and sent him post-haste back again with the gas masks. But it all just fizzled out. It was a false alarm.
Oh! Blackout regulations were imposed on the 18th of September 1939. Oh, come on, quickly!
Blackout.
Oh, little Duke!
What do we do? Just where you put the bloody hammer? Down that end, there's a chink of light.
Oh, please hurry!
Number 28. Put that light out!
Well, one morning, on the way to work, past the park, I used to look over the railings there, and they put up some tents for the new recruits, and there was a sergeant or a corporal or whoever he was there training the men, you know. He was boxing them and he was encouraging them to punch them in the face.
Hit me in the face.
To lose their feelings.
Hurt me.
That he's no longer a human being anymore, that he's an enemy.
What do you want to do to the enemy?
Kill them?
Kill them?
Show me some fucking aggression.
Kill them!
Now, show me your war face. Let me introduce you to Hans. He's killed your mate. You want to kill him, don't you?
Kill! 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 Kill!
Go on, stab him. Go for the heart. Go for the belly.
We can talk about war now, as we know it in the present, and in theory, you might be able to justify it. But back then, in practice, well, I just couldn't.
And we felt that war, that art even, was such an international thing that you really couldn't go killing each other. It was as simple as that. One wasn't prepared to kill one's fellow artists, as it were. It's the only thing we felt intense about at the time. Killing creative workers, I suppose, in our own sphere.
2 million. 2 million unemployed, as I said. 2 million, that's a lot of young people and a lot of old people as well who could not get work and had no prospect of getting work. And this got you really keenly interested in politics, and my attitude, my approach, if you like, and a lot of the members of the Labour Party was, what was the point of having wars and killing people? I mean, if you can't keep people alive and in work, what was the point of fighting? And that's where the No More War movement come in. And that started in the Labour Party, in the Labour Party League of Youth. But and that's where I got involved. And of course, following on from that, there came the Peace Pledge Union and Mr. Dick Shepherd, but they was religious pacifists. They was pacifists by what you call religious conviction. Well, it wasn't, as far as I was concerned. No, it simply just didn't make sense.
Name?
Phyllis Mary Walshaw.
That's my mum.
You had to sign up to be a pacifist when you got to 18, which was call-up age. I think they dropped it down to 17. But you had to fill up the thing, and then you had to go in front of some judges. And well, I went. And of course, my aunt, Sybil Thorndyke, she came as soon as she heard I was going to a tribunal, and all the things I'd written down were taken no notice of. And of course, as soon as she walked in, she swept them all up with that huge personality.
I'm so sorry I'm late. Do carry on. Take no notice of me. Do carry on.
Well, and they asked me, did I have a big faith?
Is religion an important part of your life, Walshaw?
And I said, no, not. I had been a great churchgoer but I said, no, not because of that.
Don't be so silly, Phyllis Mary. Don't be so silly. What are you talking about? Of course you do. Of course she does. She's very devout. On her knees night and day. Very, very devout. I know no one more devout than her or her mother.
That's what Aunt Sybil was like.
Look, I'm not registering for the army, unless I can go for the medical corps. You can't pick and choose, Adams. You've got to do as you're told. Well, I'm sorry, but I can't. And I pursued it along those lines, but, well, it didn't work. They gave me non-combatant duties. Well, I repeated, look, can't I go in on the medical side? Because I'd heard there's a separate organisation on the medical side. No. Apparently there wasn't. It was just part of the army. you had to learn to kill before you were taught to cure. And I wasn't going to do that. I mean, you can understand why, though, can't you? I mean, you're in a hospital, it comes under enemy action. Well, they would expect you to pick up your gun and shoot them first, if you could.
Name?
Sutherland. Donald Sutherland, sir.
Sit down, Sutherland.
On what grounds do you oppose military service?
Well, I just said it's not right to go killing people, you know.
Oh, are you a member of a church?
I'm a Presbyterian, English Presbyterian, sir.
If your mother was being raped by a German soldier, would you physically intervene, or would you just stand and watch?
Well, if I was away fighting...
If I came to you to steal this wallet, would you try to stop me?
Well,
What would you do if I kicked sand in your face?
Are you a man or a mouse?
A mouse! A mouse! A mouse! A mouse!
So, are you telling us you're not even prepared to dig an air raid shelter?
So I said, no, I'm not. I suppose you could call me an absolutist. They put so many trick questions against you that you have to appear an absolute coward. Still, I got
unconditional exemption.
Unconditional.
Probably thought I wasn't strong enough to carry a rifle. Judge Richardson.
Just hanging Judge Richardson at my door.
Telegram for you, missus.
Thanks. There's threepence for your trouble, lad.
What is it, love?
It's a wire.
A wire? What are we doing getting wires? What's it say?
Give us a chance, Jack. Oh. Oh no. It's our Bert. It were his first mission. He's gone, Jack, gone.
Traitors!
Shuckers!
Hitler lovers! Call
Call
yourselves
yourselves
men!
men!
Conchies!
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 Conchies.
Conchies.
Conchies!
Conchies. Conchies.
Conchies!
Call ourselves men. Call ourselves men. Call ourselves men. Call ourselves men. Conchies.
For the Conchies, it proved impossible for them to go back to their former lives.
There were two departments in the bookbinding firm I was in. Well, I had worked in my department, the actual binding department, well, the whole of my apprenticeship. And well, when I told them that I'd registered as a CO, well, they accepted me completely. Yeah, completely. But then they were short of labour in the other department, and I was sent down there, and it was completely different. There were criticisms from some.
We don't want you here.
And snide remarks, especially from the Christians, so-called. They sabotaged my work.
Hot off the press, autobiography of a coward and a shirker by Arthur Adams.
So I went back to my first department. But there was one in that department. Well, he came up to me.
Don't you change. You stick to it. You're right.
Yeah, just the one. You know. Didn't mention it to anybody else. But he just whispered to me.
Don't you change. You stick to it. You're right.
But the department that I'd always worked in, well, they welcomed me. I shared their lunches with them. They were a wonderful crowd, I think. But you know, you can't blame the people for taking their attitude. I mean, you're completely letting them down. You've got to remember that. Well, you're a coward. You're afraid of being killed. I've often said the only way to disprove that fact is by being shot. Is there any other way? Well, I can't think of one. But it wasn't an easy way out. It's what we should be doing.
After I refused to do the fire watching, I suppose I was a rather obstinate blighter, my manager said,
I think we'd better write to head office and tell them, otherwise somebody else will.
So we sat down together and wrote letters together and sent it off, and by return of post they said,
sack him.
So that's what happened.
they sent me a summons to appear at West London Court, so I went down.
Take him down and give him a medical.
And what I said was, I'm not taking one, simple as that. But funnily enough, the officers who were in charge were quite civil. Yeah, absolutely civil. But the next day I was taken back to court for refusing to take my medical.
We've wasted enough time on you, Adams. Off to prison you go.
And I got
6 months.
in Wandsworth prison.
Good morning. Dick Cornwallis. You can call me Corn.
Morning, Roy Broadbent. You can call me Broad, or anything you like, really. Welcome to paradise. Not paradise, welcome to purgatory, old chap.
Purgatory?
Otherwise known as the Classified As Department of Peace News. It's here that we footle about all day, going slowly, balmy.
I say, these old pledge cards.
Yeah, afraid so. They're all duds, I'm afraid. Not worth the paper they're scrawled in most cases, but some of them fly pretty well.
I feel a bit of a dud myself. Kicking my heels is not my style.
Tell me about it, yeah, I know. I'm simply withering away with boredom here. I'm a practical chap. I just be doing things, making things by preference. If I'm not responsible for what I might do.
Tell you what, it could be time for you to get off your arse.
Oh, why's that?
A farmer from Lincolnshire is going to be here at any
really?
minute. Not just any farmer.
Oh, good.
He's a singing farmer, a Methodist farmer, a conscientiously objecting farmer, and a farmer who is going to lease us a farm that's going to become a beacon of hope in this damned world.
A beacon of hope? I hope you're not thinking about breaking blackout regulations, old boy.
No, well, I'm giving you the opportunity to join me in a life-changing adventure. I'm not going to stay here shuffling bits of paper. I might as well be back at Price Waterhouse. No, I'm here to meet Mr. John Brocklesby, a farmer who is going to assist me, or us if you so wish, in setting up the Lincolnshire Farm Training Scheme.
Catchy!
We're going to train conscientious objectors in land work, so by when they get taken up by one of these real farmers, they'll become more of a help than a hindrance. But our aims, Roy, go far beyond that.
They do?
A plague of selfishness has swept across Europe. Everyone's looking out for themselves, or at best their tribes. But not us. We're going to stand for something different. We're going to roll up our sleeves, forget our precious egos, and work together for the good of the community. And I tell you what, we're going to be a damn sight happier for it.
Well, I never. An accountant philosopher? You're a rare breed, old chap. But I don't know anything about farming. I suppose you do.
A mere detail. I know quite a lot about moths.
Practising lepidopterist as well? I thought they'd made that illegal. If they haven't, they bloody well should do. But I'll tell you what, if we're sharing secrets, I'm no farmer, but I've always had a yearning to build a Dutch barn. Never told anyone that before.
I hope you feel better for getting that off your chest, Roy. But listen, the newspapers are trying to portray us as feeble, conchy cowards. We have got to prove them wrong, Roy, comrade, old chum. We've got to wage war on war itself.
Yes, I see it. We have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, sweat, and cow shit. I say, young man, you're wrong.
I left the utter misery of London for bonds. Every morning you'd go up, wondering if your office would still be there, wondering what buildings had come down in the night. And it was very, very miserable and depressing. And coming up to Lincolnshire was like coming to another world. For the first time in months, you would look up at the sky, and it just seemed to be all sky. And it was so quiet, it was incredible. And of course, much more interesting than working for the Wimbledon Corporation Electricity Department.
We used to get the Peace News, and we saw the ad for it in that, and well, that was it. I wrote off. I reckon it was to Corn, and I always remember arriving at Market Raisin railway station. Well, I'd never been to Raisin before. I had no idea what it was like. I hadn't a clue. And this chappie met me on the platform and introduced himself, and then off we got in Roy's little van, and off we went to Bleasby.
After 3 months I appealed and they let me go, you know, on condition I did land work. So I came up to Bleasby. It was only a 6.5-hour bike ride. And well, when I got here it was quite late and I couldn't see hide nor hair of anybody. So I thought, well, let's try this door here.
Hello, love. Hello. You look a bit lost. Are you looking for Dick?
Oh.
Just come in a minute while I put some clothes on, and then I'll help you find him.
No, you're fine. You just stay just where you are. I'll find him myself. Look, there he is. Oh, well, that was a first. I just walked in on 2 naked young ladies sharing a tin bath in the kitchen. Well, I thought, blimey, this place is going to be an education. You know, man, I was one of 3 brothers. There weren't any females in our family. Well, unless you count my mum, that is. But anyway, the next morning I met up with Dick and he gave me a tour of the farm. And, well, we ended up in the kitchen. Nobody was in the bath. And we had a cup of coffee, didn't we? Yeah.
Well, Arthur, what do you make of us?
I think it's absolutely wonderful, sir.
Sir? Huh? No sirring here. No bosses and workers, just Arthur, Roy, Dick.
It just feels like my whole life has been a pilgrimage to find this place. By following Christ's path, it's led me here.
No, I think you'll find we're a bunch of fairly fervent atheists here, Arthur. You're in for a little bit of ribbing if you wear your faith on your sleeve.
Well, no, I'm not one of these regular churchgoers or nothing. Well, it's just that, well, I believe in the words of Christ.
Yeah, I have no objection to the principles of Christianity, merely its practice.
See, and also, Dick, I do have experience of farming.
Really?
Yes, I used to help my Uncle Frank in the summer holiday on his farm. And you know what he used to say
What
to
did
me?
he say?
He used to say, Arthur, I think you must have been born a tractor in a former life. You know, because somehow in the mornings nobody else would get the tractors going and I'd come and I'd get them going.
I'll tell you what, I think you're going to fit in rather well round here. Welcome to the community, Arthur. Let me go and introduce you to some of the chaps.
Oh, yes.
Hey, Dee, have you finished darning those green socks of mine by any chance?
Oh, yes. Socks. After a long day's work, we used to have lots of little conferences about all sorts of problems that were arising, you know, people being defiant, impossible, and lazy. A lot of the bad behaviour was because some of the boys were only 18, never been away from the home, never been away to school or college, away from the mother's influence for the first time, and loving it. Letting everything go, you know, stopping washing. Sounds trivial, doesn't it? But it's a factor when you're all huddled together in one room. And whatever the rules were, they just said, rules! Well, you know what people are like at 17, 18, 19.
Well, horses, well.
Yeah.
Slow down, horsey, slow.
Yeah.
Slow down, horsey,
Yeah.
slow down.
Yeah.
Come back, horsey. Come back. Come back. Heel. Heel. Sit. Sit. Sit, boy. Buggering bastard equines.
Gather round, you lot. Come here, come here, come here. Just because you've squeezed a cow's tit a couple of times, it don't mean you can have a 2-week holiday. Well, I'm glad I'm not your girlfriend, that's all I can say. I've never heard a cow screaming for mercy before, but I don't blame her with you lot fumbling around with her undercarriage.
We had this quite well-known economist. What was his name?
Peter.
Oh, yes. Oh, Peter Self.
Yeah.
He was a little older. He clearly had brains. He couldn't look after himself. He came from a home where everything was done for him. He truly could not understand the mysteries of making a cup of tea. Once, when there was some crisis on, he put his breakfast egg in the kettle, hoping to condense it all into one simple operation. He didn't have a clue.
What's that con your Conchies getting up to over there?
That's the vipers, more like.
Ruddy foreigners coming here with their posh voices, buying our land with their London money.
Bunch of townies pretending to farm.
They might be working on a farm, but they'll never make farm workers.
No, I've seen them at night, you know, with their torches. And you know what they're doing? Like they're signalling to their Jerry bastards.
It's in yon field of theirs.
What of it, Billy?
Look, take a look. Tell me what you see. What you see?
Well, it's a corn waiting to be cut, and it's been like that weeks, ladybug.
Move your head a tad to the right. That's it. That's it. Now you see it better, don't you? It's as clear as that wax on then your snout. That's standing cool in the shape of a swastika, isn't it? It's a secret signal to their mates in the Luftwaffe.
No.
On their way to bomb the shit out of Sheffield. I see it the first time last Saturday night.
Oh, was that after they chucked you up Adam and Eve again, was it?
Well, I'm telling the police I am.
Oh, yeah.
It's my patriotic duty.
There's no stopping you, is there, Billy?
I'm dark night.
Look, Ian, come here. Come here. What? I just have to say this right now. I'm sorry. Hold everything up, but I don't like the way we're stereotyping the locals.
Look, Chris, just because there's a semi-blackout does not mean the audience cannot hear us.
I don't care. It's my friends, my neighbours. You're taking the piss.
Look, I'll find, I'm sure, some very subtle way of letting the audience know that we're very aware the way we're presenting local people is nothing short of a total travesty. Okay, right now, can we move on, please?
One dark night, early one morning, there was a sort of bashing on the door.
Open up! Break your door down!
And 2 armed soldiers appeared in our bedroom with fixed bayonets and everything.
Anyone may make one move out of place and we'll shoot you, no questions asked. Now, take us to your weapons store.
Weapons? And a lamp was lighted, and we were all directed to come into the kitchen, and we were made to sit down, and they took down all our particulars.
Identity cards at the ready, everybody.
I should think it wasn't long before it was emerged that we were a fairly dopey lot. Certainly not the stuff that spies are made of. And they were rather startled by the importance of Dick's father. He was ambassador, you know, in Iraq, Baghdad. They called him Sir then. And there was this young soldier who was at school at Westminster with one of our lads, and they knew each other.
Boodles!
Stinky! And they didn't let on. It was so funny. They went the round of the buildings. They searched everything.
They drove their bayonets into bales of wool, sheep wool. They really were looking for equipment. But a lot of the boys were as young as we were, and certainly more frightened than we were. It was so funny. Dick took one of the soldiers up to the top yard, and this soldier couldn't manage the stile very well, so he asked Dick to hold his gun for him.
Would you mind, old chap? Okay, remember my basic training. Right, here we go. Over the top!
Such a giggle. So inept and funny. And then the senior officers departed, you know, having left their instructions.
We're taking you to Louth, to the police headquarters. Now, I doubt we'll get any food or anything there, so I'm rather inclined to suggest that you make your sandwiches and take a flask.
And I said to him, can we make you a cup of tea? We were having a sort of breakfast type snack. We can make something for all of you. I mean, why not? I mean, dash it. There's nothing easier than making a cup of tea.
No. Really. I'd really rather not. Thanks awfully, but no.
So then it emerged that there were 100 of them. We were surrounded. They had mortars and all sorts of equipment. No wonder they didn't want us involved in making tea. And so then we were escorted into various vehicles, and then we set off in convoy.
Looking just like prisoners of war.
Motley beards and things. And then this nice officer said to us,
Would the ladies like some chocolate?
Oh, chocolate! Yes, please! Like kids. And so this nice chappie was detailed to go and get chocolate for the ladies. That was his little gesture, I suppose.
There was a great misconception that the wives of pacifists were to be pitied.
That they were just being loyal wives, not allowed to have principles of our own.
And then when we got to Louth, all the populace started to boo.
Boo! Hiss! Traitors! Boo! Conchies! 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 Conchies!
So then we were all interrogated separately, and you know, it was a bit nerve-wracking going in separately. I mean, you don't know who's going to put their foot in it.
Well, I said to Dee a long while after, I said it must have been unique, really, to be conducted to the job by a military escort.
Anyhow, it turned out to be a good thing, because it calmed the locals, and we were publicly shown to be
harmless
and ineffectual. Still won't trust them further because took a sack of tapes, mine.
No, me neither, Billy.
Have you seen their crop of barley this year, though? It's not bad, is it?
Seen worse.
And their livestock this summer, they had a bit of flesh on them, not like them piles of bones I've seen shuffling round your field, Billy.
Bloody incomers.
Yeah. I'd say for townies, they're making not a bad job.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a look at what they're doing sometime.
Well, let us know when you're going, Bert. I might just join you.
Well, you go steady, mate. You go steady where you got the players be. Aye. Keep your toolbox locked, mate.
Oh.
Aye. Because here them lasses there can't keep their hands off anything in trousers.
I reckon, Billy, a handsome devil like you could go into Bleasby and come out again with his trousers still on.
Oh, it was a long day. The women had to do all the washing and mending for the chaps. Spent a lot of time mending clothes and socks.
Piles and piles of socks to mend and trousers to mend.
I can't remember anything but socks. Apart from cooking endless meals, that is.
15 blokes took a lot of feeding.
We spend a lot of time doing things like hoeing,
singling sugar beet and lifting it in season.
It was all done by hand.
It was very laborious and cold.
A continual round of heavy manual work.
And people got really exhausted from time to time.
But if you were reasonably young and healthy enough,
you become accustomed to it.
And people do.
In my view, we should be appealing to the better side of Hitler's nature. I would love to go to Hitler and with Christ's help get him to see the error of his ways.
All right, and if that doesn't come off, just get his old man to sort of reduce Adolf to a pillar of salt. That's a top trick of his, I always thought, a real top trick.
You see, I'm only really opposed to fighting on the Sabbath.
if Hitler invades, they'll shoot the lot of us, whatever day of week it is.
From where I'm standing, pal, it seems to me your religion forbids you to work hard any day of the week.
Oh, you godless bullshit! Why don't you go and live in Russia, eh?
Oh, and where is your God these days? There doesn't seem to be a lot of evidence of him about these days. Oh, he's on his summer holidays. Is that what it is? You Bible-bashing hypocrite!
Oh, you commie blighter!
Break it up, you pacifist, now then! A little less chat and a bit more work when you come back from tea break wouldn't go amiss.
The only war worth fighting is war at working class.
You wouldn't be up needing tea break, will you, Hubert?
This is the story of
Hubert Cocknell.
Hubert was a gentle giant of a man, and he was possessed of the most enormous, almost superhuman strength.
His fellow trainees watched in amazement as Hubert would hoist onto his back what would take them at least 3 separate journeys to carry.
I reckon I can manage a little more.
Until one day someone said to him,
I say, Hubert, do you fancy a wager?
Hubert smiled and nodded.
Well, I bet you a packet of Players cigarettes that you couldn't carry an 18-stone sack of wheat from Grange Farm to the Laurels.
Which was a distance of about 1.5 miles.
A mile and a half? I don't smoke Player cigarettes.
Hubert pointed out.
I don't even smoke at all, but I'll do it if you like.
The news of the wager quickly spread from Legsby
to East Torrington.
And inevitably to West Torrington.
Even as far as East Barkwith.
East Barkwith?
Well, it's only about 3.5 miles away.
Oh.
Well, when the day came for Hubert to perform his great feat of strength, the streets were thronging with local people, one of whom had come to scoff.
There ain't a man around here could carry an 18-stone sack of wheat 100 yards, let alone 1.5 miles. You're not telling me one of these lily-livered Conchies can do it?
The great day arrived. A few friends helped Hubert hoist the sack onto his back.
For the first mile, Hubert hardly broke sweat.
And then he was occasionally seen to grimace.
Come on, Hubert, lad.
Then he began to pant and moan.
Keep going, Hubert.
As he approached the Laurels, his back began to give way.
Oh my God, keep
his
going,
face
Hubert.
got redder
Keep
and redder,
going,
and he slowed almost to a halt.
Keep going, Hubert, keep going.
With 50 yards to go, he started to stagger and weave. Surely he was about to collapse.
But the crowd which had gathered were now on his side and cheered him on to the finish.
Come on,
Hubert!
Hubert! Hubert! Hubert! Hubert! Hooray!
And then somebody ran forward and amidst the backslappers thrust a packet of Player cigarettes into Hubert's hand, which he promptly offered to one of the locals, Billy by name.
Well, would you look at that? Not such bad lads after all, are they?
Hubert and the sack of wheat made an enormous impression on the locals.
It was great propaganda for us. They were really impressed by that.
Long ago and far away, I dreamed a dream
around with the horses, and there was this girl, all full of bounce, all full of bounce. Yeah, and she had a sister, and one Sunday, the two sisters came down to Floral.
Arthur, do you fancy having a game of table tennis sometime?
Oh, I'm afraid that started things. And then she left school and came to work for us. Very convenient. And things developed from there. But, well, I do remember that. We'd all be out in the barn and she'd be in the fields on her own, chopping kale. Yeah. And chopping kale, you know, was an awful job. How old would she be then? 16. 16. Yeah. And I remember summer mornings. I'd get up bright and early because, well, I knew she'd be doing her dairying. And, well, I'd pretend to fiddle around with my hives. But it was just a chance to have some quiet time on our own, together. Oh, those summer mornings. They were as near to paradise as I've ever been. Oh, she was a country girl. Oh, she was a country girl. Oh, yeah. A country girl.
Arthur, I'd better go and milk those cows before they burst.
Oh, yeah. And her father was the village blacksmith, and that integrated me further into the village.
A group of us used to go to the pub almost every Saturday night, the Adam and Eve. There was a little room there called the Snug, which we used to try and occupy if we got there in time, before anyone else. You see, the pub was also extensively patronised by the aircrew from the camp at Wickham, and I don't remember there being any ill feeling.
Don't know where old Eddie's got to.
Gone to change the barrel, apparently.
Takes time to add that much water, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I say, you're from the base?
That's right. Eat, drink and be merry, 'cause tomorrow, and all that. You're one of those Conchies from Bleasby, aren't you?
I can't deny it. I don't suppose we're that popular with you chaps.
Perhaps not with the more gung-ho of us, but to be honest with you, old chap, for 2 pins I could have joined you, but I love flying. Too good an opportunity to miss.
I think I know where you're coming from, old man. I was in the cavalry cadets at Oxford.
Oh, really? Which college?
Balliol.
I'm a Christman.
Well, you see, I have this passion for horses. Not much call for a cavalry charge these days. Had there been, who knows what I might have done.
Well, in the end, I suppose, you do what you do.
Tell you what, I've got a bunch of really patriotic hens down at our place, and far more eggs than we know what to do. What say, one of these days I bring some down to the base for you.
Well, make sure you ask for me, Peter, and I'll share them with my crew. We'll treat ourselves to some celebratory scrambled eggs after our next mission. Ah, Eddie, we began to think you'd sold up and gone to Munich. 7 pints of our usual poison, and 1 for my friend here.
Following week, I gathered up some eggs and took them down to the cab. I asked for Peter, but they told me he'd gone.
In the evenings?
Late evenings.
When work really had ended.
The whole crowded room.
All seated in various postures,
By 1944-45, we had regular play readings.
Bernard Shaw was our Bible.
And how ridiculous. Oh, war, war. The dream of patriots and heroes. A fraudulently, a hollow sham.
And the talk was very academic. You know, it did me good. My education stopped when I was 14. I was 14.
We had a lot of very musical people who were very keen on classical music.
I didn't know anything about music. I didn't know any of that deep stuff. It seemed to be a bore. And later on they'd have the musical evenings. They'd gather round in groups, they'd sigh, look in the air and stuff. Well, I wondered what the hell they were doing, I really did. Anyway, it seems so false, and that's my practical approach to it. And with painting, things should look like the things that you're meant to be painting. And besides, you can get a better likeness with a camera. Yes, they got all wrapped up in their art, they did. And I thought it was a useless occupation. But they liked it, so that was all right, with me.
Shut up, will you just
get out, will you? You're always doing that.
Which bugger farted? Just you stink this place out, you know. You should live in a barn, you know. Just give me some space.
For my father, Bobby Walshaw, community living became unbearable. I got a bit brassed off. I suppose it was the friction with so many people living together in a community. Maybe I wasn't built for it. I suppose it's not for nothing that the sort of family system has evolved where people live their own little lives in their own little houses. And I think what we were doing was completely unnatural. That is to say that you maybe had 12 men, 3 or 4 women, living in one house, working together, living together, and the friction started to build. And I felt I wasn't emotionally, that I was being emotionally damaged!
We set up all sorts of committees. There was an arable committee. And what's the yield going to be this year in bushels?
Yes, in bushels. Bushels, yes.
Then there was a milk committee. Is Columbine in calf yet?
I think the bull's had his way with her a couple of times.
And then we had a big committee.
Big committee.
And poultry.
And then we had a domestic committee.
And then we had, of course, an executive committee which used to collate the work of all the other committees, and we used to sit up very late at night, but it used to get sometimes very, very abrasive.
I thought this was supposed to be a democratic community.
It's like Animal fucking Farm all over again.
Forget the community bullshit. Money still talks.
You don't know your bloody arse from your stinking elbow.
Well, wait on. We haven't got to AOB yet.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Living in communities very, very difficult, and I think when we married, things went difficult as well. Perhaps some of the wives didn't see eye to eye with some of the other people. I don't know all the complications, and then there's children as well to consider. And I think in community, living and working in a community, you have to be very dedicated, very self-denying. I can understand monks doing it.
Community, to me, was foreign. It was foreign to me, the whole idea of community. They start them up now, don't they? You see it on the telly all the time. They get the thing going, and And then they make the same mistakes we made. First of all, the husbands and wives get a little mixed up, so to speak. And that's bound to happen, that really isn't. And then later on, in some of the communities, I remember at pay picking time, they get all the peas in one corner of the field, they'd sit down, and then they'd have a reading, a poetry reading. They had no idea.
Well, Roy's father left him what seemed to us then an enormous sum of money. I can't remember how much, but it was enough for him to buy another farm. Well, Roy put a little item in the wall newspaper asking for suggestions for a proper use of his money. I can't remember what suggestions were made, but what he decided to do was to buy Ivy Lodge Farm. Now, Roy wanted to run the farm on a profit-sharing basis rather than a pocket money basis. And by this time, I think, Vic and I were getting a little tired of the 5 shillings a week. And so we thought a profit-sharing basis sounded rather more promising. So we were among the people who decided to leave with Roy.
Well, Roy,
Well, Dick.
been through quite a journey together. Still doing so, I trust?
Yes, yes, yeah. But be honest though, Corn, is there somewhere deep down inside you're thinking, that Roger Broadbent's gone and done the dirty on me again?
No, not deep down. It's right at the top of my conscience. But seriously, I'm actually pleased for you. I mean, you are a free spirit. You need to be true to who you are. And besides, you did get to build that Dutch barn and much else.
Yes, and this place is a beacon for an alternative way of living, just as you always wanted it to be. And it's going to remain so for all of us who've been part of it. It's just that, I don't know, last night Dee went all the doodah, worrying that we might be leaving you in a pretty awful situation.
Tell her she's being perfectly ridiculous. There are more than enough of us here to keep the ship afloat.
Oh, we're only just down the road anyway.
And there's the rub. When your tractor won't start, you'll be up here pinching Arthur. I know you.
Still friends then?
Still friends.
They were still my friends, but they'd gone from Bleasby, and Bleasby was my concern. I thought it was everybody else's, but apparently that wasn't quite true. We kept going for a few years, 6 of us, after the war. It even started to turn a little bit of a profit. But the spirit wasn't there anymore. It was staring us in the face. I didn't want to see it at first. We used to have these meetings every Friday. Well, the idea of these Friday meetings was that you cleared up any disagreement or discord, otherwise it built up. And on this particular Friday, we were discussing something, and the fact that some people weren't pulling their weight came up, and I said, well, it's getting a bit much. It's putting a bit on all the rest of us. And then I said, well, I don't think much to that. And that's all I thought about it. But from that, well, I think it just sapped the branches. Oh, Dick, I was expecting you.
Really, old chap, I thought it was rather late for you.
No, times have changed. I stay up late these nights reading.
I'm quite late myself. I've just returned from an NFU meeting.
Oh, no.
You know how those chaps like to barb along?
No.
You're not going to believe this, but as I was leaving, old Bernie took me to one side and he said, when all the memories of the war have started to fade, I could make a future chairman. You wouldn't believe that in the early days, would you?
Oh, I think you'd make an excellent chairman, Dick. You may be lucky to have you. But look, I know why you're here. You're thinking of drawing out, aren't you? I've been watching you, Dick. You're a troubled man.
I knew you, of all people, Arthur, would understand my position. After all, we're the only 2 true believers left standing. But I just have to say that, as the military man would say, it's time for an orderly retreat.
Oh no, Dick. I mean, if Bleasby just becomes another commercial farm, if we just forget about community, well, it's like accepting there's going to be another war. And you know, after Japan, it'll be one that'll wipe us all off the face of the earth. All we'll have done is not fight. All we'll have done is object, and who cares whether we've done it conscientiously or not? I mean, when you boil it right down, we'll have taken the easy way out. We'll have left it to other people to take the risks. You lit a flame here, Dick. You know, a flame which drew people, fine people, to it. Are you just going to walk away, shrug your shoulders sort of thing, and let it die? No, Arthur. We can take that flame out into the world with us. Just think how many people we can influence in our sphere of activity. No, or do you think we'll get seduced by the flesh pots of Market Raisin? No, I do think that is unlikely. Very unlikely, Dick. But when we are all doing very nicely, thank you, you know, successful members of society, chairman of the NFU even, and well, and then somebody approaches us, you know, somebody who lost a son in action, and they say to us, and what did you do in the war? Well, I mean, if we're still here, we can say, look, this is what we did because we believed it was the right way to live, and look, we're doing it still.
No, but look on Bleasby, Arthur, as if it's been like our chrysalis, if you like. Our lives have been changed forever. I'm not going to go back to being another chinless wonder at Price Waterhouse. You're not going to go back to binding books, then, are you?
No, I've started reading them.
And whatever happens, though, I am determined to build on what we've achieved so far here at Bleasby. I'll probably go in with Bobby. He's got great ideas coming forward to do with the milking herd. And there'll always be a job here for you, Arthur, on a friendly basis for a fair wage, because why else are we going to get the tractors started on a cold morning?
You know, I used to think of you as Gandhi, yeah, Moses even. Oh. But as I'm sitting here now, I'm thinking, who are you really, Mr. Richard Cornwallis?
I suppose at heart I'm just a lepidopterist.
Well, I'm not going back to binding my books, that's for certain. So, well, I shan't be rejecting your offer. Thank you very much. But if the community is done with, then I expect I shall be spending more time with my bees.
Is that it? Is that how we're ending it?
It's a bit downbeat, isn't it?
So, Chris.
Yes?
In the end, did they fail?
No, they did not fail. They absolutely did not fail. They stayed on in the villages and made a difference, whether it was as teachers, farmers, designers, painters, market gardeners, and of course they started their own little theatre, which the Broadbent's still thriving today. And Arthur, of course, he gained national prominence with his beekeeping. Many of us who still live around here, myself included, whereas others went out into the wide world to seek fame or fortune or whatever, and they still keep coming back because they know they have this special heritage that they share, and this has held them together. And sure, they couldn't all be like Arthur or Dick with their high community ideals, but they certainly lived in a different way to most people. And for us children, it was like growing up in a great big extended family, and people came and joined us even after the war, attracted by an alternative way of living.
Like moths to a flame.
Bees to a hive.
It still exists. I I feel it still.
I don't know about you, but I saw our generation reflected in their story.
Yeah, it doesn't make very pretty viewing, does it? The spoilt brats that we are, we've squandered our inheritance and left it for our grandkids to pick up the bill.
And what a bill.
You know, I had a sudden thought when we were rehearsing. If there's a nuclear war, well, it'll be too late to conscientiously object, won't it?
That's why we have to make our voices heard now, before it's too late.
So who is the charmed generation? Them or us?
You know, Chris, I mean, you're much closer to it than I could ever be. I mean, it runs through your blood, but I did have the privilege of talking and meeting some of those traitors, cowards, Conchies, you know, towards the end of their lives. And well, for me, I just wish that there were many, many, many more human beings like them walking the earth now. I mean, I know people say, what would have been the consequences if everybody had done what they did? And I get that, yeah, absolutely get it, and I think it myself sometimes. But then I think, you know, what would be the consequences of living in a world where nobody had
done
what
they
did?
Without being stupid about it, I had my God, if you like, with me all the time, chastising me more often than not. But that is, I mean, it sounds silly, but that wasn't affecting me in any way. I just wanted to be good, you know, because that was what life was all about.